always Irish. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison. I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing. Doing a damn thing. The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah. Ooh. Glad to see everybody's cheered up since the other day. Like, dude, it's just life ain't getting any easier, is it? Oh man, listen. I love the drama. I just sometimes it'd be really nice if. Why does it just feel like when you cover Notre Dame, there's always way more on the negative side than there is on the positive side, man? Like, what does a brother got to do to be able to log in here and have everybody in a good mood, and we get a bunch of good recruits, or like we win the biggest game on the schedule and everybody's happy? What do you got to do to get one of those moments when you're me? What do you got to do? It feels like you get like 3 days out of the year where everybody's in a good mood. You know, after the USC game last year, everybody was in a good mood. It was a legitimately fun show to do, and everybody was happy. That's about it. Like, it just seems like it never ends. It just seems like it never ends. And Adam, what are you talking about? All the computers are down. Don't be messing with me already. Everything says my stuff's working. Angela, good to see you. Always good to have a Rudiger here. Jay Lehman's here. Bro, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm showing all my stuff's working, but I did hear this morning there's like the airline stuff is out. Everything's out like across the country. I don't know. It's showing that I got Wi-Fi, and I'm not showing any weird screen of death here. You guys are all messing with me. Anyways, the Format Podcast here. Bruce, this is the guy with the Barry White voice that calls in from the conference room at work. And I joined him yesterday. We talked a little bit about college football all across the country, Notre Dame too. When you're done here, go over to his channel, subscribe, and go. We looked across the country. We looked at everything. Go check it out. Jay Carr says, John, I'm getting my hair cut today. What do you tell the stylist so I could get the Kennedy cut? Are you kidding me? I tell my girl, I've gone to the same girl for like 15 years. You know why? It takes 3 minutes and I'm out. We don't talk about, oh, John, what do you want? Do you want a power mullet or do you want a mega fade? Bro, there ain't much material to work with, lady. I go to the same girl for like 15 years, and all she does is go ahead and she gives me the same cut. I'm in and out the door, 4 minutes. We keep it moving, and I'm out of there. I'm not sitting in no barber chair talking about my life, waiting my turn and all of that I don't have enough hair to do that. So my girl, 4 minutes, I'm in and I'm out, and it's the same thing every time. Maybe we'll do something different when the season starts. Maybe we'll do that. Oh yeah, a neck massage, bro. I'm just saying, it's a little weird when sports clips. Remember when they had ran all those commercials, and they're like, you don't need an appointment. You could just come in and get your haircut here and everything. And then you can also go in the back room and get a massage and a head massage, bro. I'm just telling you, I know what you're trying to do there, and it's a little weird. And I used to go to, when I lived in Chicago, I didn't have a haircut barber, a person or anything. And I used to go to those sports clips because I never had a routine schedule, and I just go in there. I'm telling you, all the people going in that back room to get a head neck massage from these young girls, they were all creepy. Look, I'm just telling you, it's an observation. It's an observation. And I'm like, bro, I'm here to get a quick haircut. All the people that would go in the back to get this special neck head rub, they all looked weird to me. And I'm convinced that they just wanted these like 20-something girls working the haircut thing to be touching, rubbing their head. There's something weird about it that makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't like it. Joshua Finn, I cut my own hair. Dude, can you imagine? There's no way I could imagine doing that. I know it sounds creepy, Andrew, and I know how to spot a creep a mile away. All these guys were creepy. I know what they were doing. I know what they were doing. It was weird. It was weird. And I got a feeling, a lot of them, like, I've been married for 35 years. Wife hasn't been in the same room as me, and 30 of them. And I'm just desperate to feel that attention. It's really creepy, and I don't like it. Anyways, I don't understand how people cut their own hair. I really don't understand. I can't even buzz the back of my neck trail. I can't. You got to look in the mirror, reverse. I don't know. How do you know you're getting everything? Anyways, I don't like it. Anyways, so the sports clips thing's creepy. Those guys, if you're going to get your hair cut, you don't need a neck massage. You don't. It makes me very uncomfortable. Both sides are pushing it. Sports Clips is pushing it to do more sales because they know in the back of their mind that's going to appeal to creepy middle-aged men. And the guys are doing, I don't like the whole thing. I'm against it. Creepy. I am ultra observant of my surroundings. There ain't anything that happens around me I don't notice. I'm always looking. I notice everybody who enters and leaves a room. I notice everybody that looks out of, I'm always cautious about my surroundings. I'm always looking. You know a weirdo when you see it. There ain't one of those guys getting that neck massage that's normal. There's not one. Not one is like, you know what? I just need, no, weird. Man, I'd rather talk about this than the wide receiver thing. I would rather talk about this than the wide receiver thing. So here's, okay, we'll get call-in lines. 312-988-15. Dial it up. Tell Uncle Johnny all you've heard and seen. Okay. I want to know what you think about the wide receiver situation, potential solutions to it. I'm convinced I know why we're here. Some solutions to that problem. I want to know what you're thinking about camp starting. I also want to know what you think about Texas A&M. I know Adam put in here, Elko was on there following Freeman on those shows, the interview circuit, saying the best defense I think I've had ever or whatever. Listen, even if it wasn't, I don't know what you want him to say. He's a first-time coach, wants to energize his guys. He can't get up there and be like, I don't know what's going on. We might be bad this year. Like, I expect him to go in there and do all that confidence thing or whatever. They got athletes. If you're a Notre Dame fan, listen, I'm surprised the amount of Notre Dame fans that are not taking A&M seriously. I get these messages all the time. You're too worried about A&M. We're going to blow them out. I don't know why you think that. What is it about Notre Dame's recent performance that makes you think you're going to kick the crap out of A&M at their place? I would love to know. Is it because we have such a great record in our biggest games on the schedule lately? It ain't that. Is it because we have a proven offense and quarterback that's going to lead us? You don't have that. Is it? Oh, I know what it is. It's because Notre Dame plays so good on the road, right? You don't have that. So somebody tell me, other than just because you want it, why is there like this overconfidence? I'm not saying to not be confident at all or feel good about Notre Dame's chances, but the overconfidence is starting to rub me a little bit the wrong way. The overconfidence from some of this fan base is starting to rub me the wrong way. And again, there is no practical, logical argument you could use to back it up. When I'm not saying it's going to be a tough game, Notre Dame should win. I'm talking about the people telling me, oh, we're going to beat them 30-3. We're going to blow them out or whatever. There is no evidence other than your little Notre Dame heart wants it to be, and that is not a good reason. So I'm trying to straddle the line of having a healthy respect for A&M and their roster and their talent and Michael Elko, while feeling like Notre Dame's going to have a pretty good team and they have a really good chance to go in there and turn some heads. So I'm trying to thread that needle right in the middle. Right in the middle. Okay. So I don't know. I don't know. Let's see what we think here. Nope, it's because ND fans listen to all these ND podcasts and look at things through blue and gold colored lenses, and they're always selling the BS. This year, this is the year the team's different or whatever. Listen, I just don't understand that. If you're always selling that everything's great in Notre Dame land and then it never ends up being, I don't understand, or you don't lose credibility. So I don't know. But like, I want things to be good. I'm hopeful things are going to be good. Like there's a lot of things in the program trending up, but you need to be fair about this particular situation. It's a big risky situation for Notre Dame. And listen, I believe they're going to have a good defense and they got athletes and they got all that going on. It's just, you need to go in there and figure it out and win. And here's the other thing too. Maybe we always talk about Notre Dame's defense being the backbone of the program. Like I always reference that forever. The only reason Notre Dame's been decent at all and even respectable at all has not been the offense. It has been that defense. And it's been the backbone of the program for a very long time. Maybe this is one of those moments where you really need them to do you a solid and outplay even themselves. And I don't want to say pitch a perfect game, but maybe that's one where you are really going to need them to carry the load. And I'm just asking you guys to think about this. It's like, what could go wrong? What does John realize Brian Kelly's about to get Meadows from ND? Yes, I certainly do. And here's the other thing with that. I've seen the LSU media. You want to talk about some Notre Dame media people not liking me? Talk about my relationship with the LSU media if you want to go down that path. On Twitter, talking about, I thought the narrative was Brian Kelly couldn't recruit. I've seen a bunch of those tweets, and they're doing pretty good in recruiting, may get Meadows, whatever. And they're saying, oh, I thought the narrative was Brian Kelly couldn't recruit. What now? Blah, 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 blah. No. Don't change my argument. You're being disingenuous, Blakey. Get a bra fitting and come back to reality. Okay? Don't change the argument. Wouldn't is very different than couldn't. Wouldn't is very different than couldn't. The argument was he refused to recruit Notre Dame the right way because it was too much effort. It was never an argument of he couldn't. It was an argument of he wouldn't. He wouldn't. He didn't want to. It was too much effort. So I'm not letting them change the argument. It was never that he couldn't. It was that he refused to do the work it takes to do it. This move is the smartest move Brian Kelly's ever made in his career. I genuinely applaud him. John, seriously, what's it going to take to do a rant about Freeman? He's taking our top target off the board, bro. Give me a break, man. Like, can I get there? Give me a break. This came up, so I'm talking about this now. You know, sometimes you guys think I'm like the karaoke guy at the end of the bar or the guy playing a guitar, and then you just tell them what you want and they drop everything and just do what you want. It doesn't always go that way here. Let me get to my point. Then I'll yell about Notre Dame, okay? Best move Brian Kelly ever made. I'm genuinely, because he's able to put in the same amount of effort he wants to in recruiting and get more mileage out of it at LSU. Because of the amount of talent around there, the support, the way it academics, lighter, all the talent. You got a vacuum around you where there's not a bunch of big SEC schools in the immediate area. You're going to get a lot of those guys off the LSU prestige and all that stuff anyways. That's a great, brilliant move by Brian Kelly because he's able to put in the same amount of effort and get more mileage out of it in recruiting. That is a really, really good move for him. So genuinely the smartest thing the guy ever did. He doesn't have to change that much about his effort, and he could get more mileage out of the LSU recruiting. So my argument was never Brian Kelly can't recruit at Notre Dame. It was that he refused to try. And that is a whole different level of frustration when you feel like your guy's just not even trying. That's totally different than Freeman trying and not getting it done. That's a whole different problem. Now, if we want to talk Freeman and this wide receiver thing, Andrew, I'm getting there. Here's something else I'm getting sick of this. Yeah, BK's on the grind down here, blah, blah, blah. Well, why wasn't he on the grind in South Bend, SPF? Answer me that. If he's on the grind down there, why wasn't he on the grind in South Bend? I want to know. And by grind, actually, I do agree with you. BK is on the grind, on that recruit. I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind, with a little bump and grind. You're right. He definitely was on the grind, baby. Give me that recruit. Give me that recruit. Ooh, give me that. Give me that. You want that NIL? Give me that. Woo. Anyways, I'm having fun on a Friday in my Notre Dame misery, so back off. $219, you're going to come up on the line. I'll be there, and I'll get to you in a second. Here's what's bugging me. Andrew, if you're still here, and it looks like your work computer's down, so everybody should be here because nobody can work, apparently. I set that up just so everybody could come into the show. I made sure everybody's work computers were broken. Here's the deal. There are a lot of Notre Dame people I see on Twitter, and they're starting to be like, I don't know why people are worried about wide receiver. We got young talent in the program, and then you could go to the portal and it's weighing down the vibes because everybody's being negative. And I saw a lot of that last night. I saw a lot of that last night on Twitter. They were just like, hey, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. We could go to the portal. We have some young guys. It's going to be just fine or whatever. Bro, you are coping so hard. You are coping so hard. Like that, it's just so weak-minded that there's all these Notre Dame people that just can't admit the wide receiver thing's been a failure for a really, really long time. And that crosses more than one coach. You're talking more than two coaches a while. It's not good enough. You're not winning championships. You're not making deep playoff runs unless you figure this out. You're just not. Spare me. Oh, Michigan did it that way. That is a one-off unicorn season for a million different reasons. That's not a model that you could say Notre Dame could replicate. There's so many things about that run that was a one-off unique thing. And that's also another reason it pisses me off so much. That's another reason it pisses me off so much, because that was 1 in a million the way it all lined up, and it all went perfect for him. That is not a repeatable Notre Dame model to me. You're never going to have that easy of a schedule. You're never going to have, again, you're never going to only have to win 2 games to win a championship again. You're going to have to win double it. Like, everything has changed about that old thing. They played 1 game all year, Ohio State. That was it. What about Penn State? No, I said they played 1 game all year, and it was Ohio State. So you're never going to be able to replicate that if you're Notre Dame. Just the circumstances are never going to be that way. But I have seen a lot of Notre Dame people coping on Twitter saying, I don't understand. It's not that bad. You guys are bringing down the vibe or whatever. Open your eyes, admit parts of the program aren't good enough. This is one of them. I don't know how you figure it out, but you need to figure it out. It wasn't good enough under Kelly. It definitely wasn't good enough under the people before him. And it's not good enough now. And you need to figure it out. And if you want me to go at Freeman for this, here's something to think about. Andrew, here's something that, no, they're not fake fans, but they're just fans who never grew up from being 7, where it's just my team's on TV and I love them and everything's magical. And they need it all to be perfect, like when you're a little boy and you really don't understand the realities of the world, but you just want to see your little team with the gold helmets run out there. And you want to feel all tingly inside. There are people who emotionally have never grown up enough to realize that ain't the real world. And these are people that genuinely love Notre Dame. Many of them I know, and they love Notre Dame. They genuinely love Notre Dame. But they just will not allow any negativity at all, even when it's warranted. So here's why is Kosuke Fukudome coming up on here? Oh, he's going to save the Cubs. Ooh, psych your mind, bro. I remember that annoying me too. Oh, Kosuke Fukudome. He's going to save the Cubs. Get out of here. Anyways, here's the thing with Freeman. People are riding Mike Brown, and then other people are saying they're still kind of blaming Chancey Stuckey, which is like you could blame him for the part where he was there, but now you got a new guy to blame. And also, I thought Freeman was the lead recruiter on every guy. Where's he fall in any of this? Right? Like, you don't get to have it both ways. You don't get to be like, I'm the lead recruiter on every guy that we go after. And then if we don't get it, everybody's like, oh, well, it's just the wide receiver's fault. If you're the lead recruiter on every guy, I want to know Marcus's involvement with these discussions and where this is all at. I'm just asking. Jerry Reinsdorf-Burner, are you excited about the personnel moves? I wish you would make a personnel move. I'm not going to say it because it might get me in trouble here. I want you to make a personnel move somewhere really far away. Maybe no longer with us. So I don't know. And so here's the thing, man. There's a lot. I don't want to act like all of this is terrible. Like, the direction of the recruiting in this program is trending up. My point is, you just can't have parts that are an absolute not good enough, not even close to good enough, weighing it down. See, that's what people have trouble with. They need all everything or all nothing. It really bothers me. There's nobody willing to live in middle ground and admit there's certain parts of this operation that are trending in the right direction. And there's other parts that are really nowhere close. The wide receiver thing, you're nowhere close to the real world. You're nowhere close to the real world of where you need to be a wide receiver. You're not. Soak it into your Notre Dame brain. I know it hurts your little feelings on a Friday. It ain't good enough, though. It ain't good enough, though. It ain't. It's not good enough. So you need to figure it out. And then the other thing that I've heard, and it's bugging me, is, well, you could just, this is what the portal's for. You could just go to the portal and then you're going to be fine. Right? And that's what the portal's for. You could fill your needs where you fall short, and we're going to have to go there, a wide receiver. I've been saying you need to do that too. as a bad, negative last resort, not the number one way you build a steady program. And it's bothering me that people are either being disingenuous about that or dumb about it. I don't know which, but I've seen it on Twitter a lot from a lot of people. Oh, this is what the portal's for. You just go in there, no big deal, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Those are Band-Aids. Those are not how you build a stable program. Those are short-term, one and done Band-Aid, like what, hope you get something, whatever. Those are not building blocks you could rely on to build depth and to build chemistry with the team and the reliability to know when we go into next year, I know who we have. You don't have any of that when you're going to the portal and you don't know who you're going to get, and it's one and done, and you know how good they are. You're not sure if they're going to fit the culture, what kind of locker room guy, that you don't know what you're going to get. Those are Band-Aids, not proper solutions. Those are Band-Aids, not proper solutions. Notre Dame people are fooling themselves for acting that way. And I just think a lot of people just cannot handle realities. The wide receiver situation's been really, really bad. It ain't good enough. 219, I'm coming to you. Really? It's just not good enough. It ain't good enough. Okay? Now, there is another side to the transfer portal. Follow me. When you're in desperation mode, the way Notre Dame may be with this wide receiver thing, if you go 0-3 and Meadows ends up going with Kelly or whatever, again, the argument, it was never that he couldn't recruit. It was that he wouldn't recruit at Notre Dame the way you needed to, with the effort and veracity, playing all the games you got to play to do that at Notre Dame. Those are very, very different things. And the LSU media is ignoring it because they don't understand any of it. And they ignore, you tell them to your face what you mean, and they take it the other way on purpose. They just won't, they don't get it. Wouldn't is different than couldn't. And I can't get those people to understand that. But here's the other way you do this. If you want to do like this portal desperation, whatever thing, like on the where Notre Dame might have to be fishing for wide receivers, that's one part of it. Here's the other part of it. If you're in a pretty good spot at your different position groups, then you could go to the portal as cherries on top. Do you get what I mean? There's two different sides to this. There's the desperation. We need these guys to fill our roster up because we don't have anybody else. Then there's a big gap in the middle. And then the other side of the equation is we're in a really good spot. We're going to go to the portal to get one more guy as a cherry on top to make this from good to elite or really good to really awesome. That's where you want to be. You want to be fishing in the portal, not praying for a Band-Aid because you're bleeding out in the Vietnam jungle. You want to go to the portal as a cherry on top, as a slam dunk, as a home run. That's where you want to be digging in the portal. But that ain't our deal. That ain't our deal. You then? Maybe you just need to go to the lacrosse field and find your next superstar wide receiver, bro. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. But it can't. 219, I'm coming to you, I promise. I promise I'm coming to you. No one, or is anybody out there like that surprised Notre Dame can't land great wide receivers? I'm just asking. Is anybody that surprised? We haven't exactly had much to offer wide receivers. The offense has been boring. You've had quarterbacks who aren't good enough to highlight the wide receivers. You're not known for like spending big money to get wide receivers. Like you don't have a stable pipeline like LSU does, for example, of wide receivers into the NFL. What exactly do you think is appealing? Yeah, Tim Brown. I don't know if you're trying to prove my point or not. If you got to go all the way back to 1987's Heisman to talk about it, you're proving my point. And then it's like, here it goes. Will Fuller. Yeah, okay. The Shark. Oh, Samardzija. Yeah, awesome, bro. None of this stuff. You need Golden Tate. Ooh, one guy here and there over a bunch of years is not what I'm looking for, you guys. Wake up. Wake up. That's not what I'm looking for, is one-off guys here or there spread over the last 10 or 15 years that you remember being kind of good enough. That's not what we're after here. That's not good enough. You need a consistent pipeline of good players and depth and a rotation, and they go to the league. And then guess what happens when they go to the league? You actually hear their name again. You actually hear their name again. I'm just saying, you could name these one-off guys that come and go, but none of it has been consistent enough as a proof of concept to help you just be in the mix for those wide receivers enough as you need them. I don't know what that means. John, my guy, it's July. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Things are going to get worse before they get better? What do you mean by that? It's July. What does that mean? You think August is going to lower my stress or ramp it up? What do you think? I have no idea what that means. It's July. Well, is August supposed to relax me? Wait till September rolls around. I'm just saying, you got to tell me what you're pitching to these wide receivers that instills a lot of confidence in recent history. Telling you, man. An offense where you slam the ball into the line for -2 yards on 1st and 2nd down and throw it over the middle of the tight end on 3rd and long. I got news for you. A lot of 5-star, ego-driven, baller wide receivers, not interested. Not interested. Let me show you something. Not interested. El nado, el interestano. Not interested. Oh, I'm on one today. I don't know why, but I got a lot of energy, and that's probably not good. It's probably not good. Okay, let's do a little bit of news. Let's do a little bit of news, and then you... Jacob, there you go. An elite quarterback will bring in elite wide receivers. This is on my list. This is on my list, and then I'm going to 219, I promise. Here's the deal. There is some good news. Some good news is there is some legitimate hope one could have that this could change in the future. Meaning, if you look at where Notre Dame's offense, how it's been structured and operating the last, whatever many decades or whatever you want to do, I don't think it's outrageous. I don't think it's outrageous for me to suggest having Denbrock come in here may give you your best chance to run an offense that appeals to these type of players that we've had in a very, very long time. So I think Denbrock's arrival and the way that he might want to set this up could be the best chance Notre Dame has of providing an offense that may appeal to more of those type of guys than we've had in the past. That's legitimately, if you want a bright side glass half full, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Because I think he's going to give you your best chance to run the kind of offense that's going to appeal to the kind of wide receivers we do not get. Or if we get them, we don't get enough of them consistently enough to make a consistent difference on the field. That's number one. Number two is that quarterback piece of it. If CJ Carr and or Deuce truly are difference makers in their physical ability to throw the ball or energize the whole offense, that should also appeal to people, bro. If I'm looking at Drew Pine behind the line, I'm not going to Notre Dame as a wide receiver. I'm not interested. This is not tryouts for the Wizard of Oz, Munchkin Land, Lollipop sect. Not interested, bro. Just not interested. I'm not doing it. No. So get real. Get real. So if you could get Denbrock in there running offense that may actually look somewhat exciting and not archaic and not predictable and not boring and not afraid and not weak and not lame and not exciting at all, you might be surprised how many more people want to play for you. No wide receiver that's a baller wants to come in here and half-ass block on the edge for some lame running play right into the line for -2 yards. Sorry, that doesn't appeal to anyone. Okay? So those are your opportunities. Did you see On3 put out that chart of the most athletic players in the 25 recruiting class? Guess who number one was? Deuce 9. Deuce was the number one voted most athletic recruit in that entire class. Maybe you get a guy like that in there, and people see him running around doing all sorts of athletic type things. Maybe that appeals to you in a way. Drew Pine not being able to see over the line of scrimmage because he's half the size of the lineman. Maybe it appeals to him more. So there is some hope on the horizon. But do not believe. Here's 2 things not to believe. Then I'm going to do a couple announcements. Then I'm going to go to the call. 36 minutes of this guy waiting. I'm sorry, man, but I need to get out what I need to get out when I'm on a roll, okay? John, why are you so calm today? Phil says, I don't know, man. I'm just feeling the zen. I've been doing my breathing exercises. Here's the deal. Pine was a 5'2" RKG. And yeah, dude, the height of the quarterback doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he can see or throw over the line of scrimmage. It doesn't matter. Yeah, good call, man. Awesome. That makes a lot of logical and practical sense. Yeah, I started doing yoga. I wear my yoga pants. What's it called? Lola's Lemons or whatever that weird workout clothing is. That's what I'm wearing. And I go in the park and I lay down a little blanket in the woods and I look at the sun coming through the clouds and I just lay there and I do my little stretches and it just makes me feel so much relaxed. And you know what else too? I can't do it in my house, in my own yard. I got to do it in a public park. Sees what a good yoga person I am. Rubs me the wrong way. I'm sorry, it does. It rubs me the wrong way when you're going through the park or whatever, you're walking your dog and there's some yoga person out there stretching. A part of it is them being like, look at what I'm doing. Can you do this? Ooh, I'm stretching. Oh, look at my pelvic stretches. Whatever you're doing, do it at home. Do it at home. All right. Here's the deal. I just think we need football, man. We just need games. I just can't. We need games. I think we're reaching a breaking point here with the summer shows. I think we need break. We need some actual football here, I think. Because I'm starting to lose my mind. And so there is hope. There is hope that you're getting better athletes at quarterback and you're going to have an offense that should be more appealing for guys to play in. There genuinely is some hope in that regard. As for now, it is not good enough. It is nowhere near good enough. So there's 2 things I don't want you to believe if you hear them. Number 1 is from the fan base. Oh, just relax. It's not a big deal. We already have guys in the program, blah, 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 blah. It's coping. They just can't handle any negative Notre Dame thought, or their whole day will end, and they're not mature enough to handle that. Ignore that. That's just, they're sad. Their little childhood team isn't doing great, and they don't know how to handle it, and they never grew up. And to have to confront admitting when their own team's not doing good enough, something. That's number one, not to believe. Number two, not to believe. Whatever's going to happen next to wide receiver, if you don't get Meadows, and then the next thing you're going to hear about is, oh, look at this guy no one's ever heard about and no other major program wants to play wide receiver, but you're going to start hearing, oh, they came out of nowhere. Oh, look at this rocket ship. This guy just came out of nowhere, and he's going to be an awesome wide receiver. But no major program wants it, but Notre Dame's got the eye for this guy. They're the only ones who could see how awesome he's going to be. But no other major programs offering him, but he's going to be great at Notre Dame. Don't believe it. RKG. And let's see here. Guys that look like me, get your grandma. It's bingo time at the VFW, sister. Whoa, here we go again. RKG. I think I got a bingo. Whoa. Also, so don't believe that. And you're going to hear it. And the recruiting people are going to say it. And they're going to try and make you feel good about it. And they're going to tell you, I think he's a good athlete. And I could see what the potential is. Blah, 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 blah. That's not where Notre Dame's at as a program. Hoping for like wannabe, hope a guy works out for potential. No, you need dudes, not guys. For the 80th time, I know you know what I mean when I say that. It sounds stupid, but you know exactly what I mean, damn it. You need dudes, not guys. I'm not interested in guys. I'm interested in dudes. I need MVPs, not RKGs. Notre Dame has zero chance of winning 4 games in a row in the playoff with a bunch of RKGs. You need MVPs, and it's past time. Now I dropped my damn bingo sheet underneath all my cords and around the edge, and now I need to go get it, and it's in an awkward spot. That's making me mad too. John likes dudes. You're damn right. Not guys. I need dudes in my life, not guys. I'm sick of it. Always Irish Senior. Whenever we're at the games, all through the Kelly era, everything, we'd be at the games and my dad would nudge me and go, look down there at our sideline. I go, what's up, Pops? And he'd go, look at all the skinny, small white guys that have me in your body frame. Why are they on the team? And you know what? He's right to ask that question. I need dudes. I don't need guys. There's a big difference. Anyways, what else do we have? Yells at Commander Kent Anderer SPF. Wow, we hit a bunch of those today. We're doing good on that. What else did we have? Marcus Freeman, we have that one. RKG Brian Kelly, we have that one. Goes off on a food tangent. I haven't done that yet today. Okay, couple announcements. Number one, we're going live Saturday night. We're doing a Saturday night show tomorrow night. This summer, I've had a lot going on and whatever. We're going live Saturday night. There's too much going on and all this. We're going to go live Saturday night. So if Pat's in here, if Pat can make it, great. And if he can't, I'll do it alone. I don't care. It's time. We need to do it. We're cranking up into camp. We're going to go live tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Be there, be square. So we're going to do that. So that's announcement number one. Everybody book it, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. We'll break all this down. We'll have a little fun. It's been a while, so it should be really good. And then number two is stay tuned. We're going to have some breaking news on this channel, the future of the program and new direction we're going in. I'm not ready to do that yet. We have some big changes coming to what we're doing here, and I think you guys are going to like it. So we're always trying to make some moves. So stay tuned for that news. Oh, there we go. Looks like the internet's freezing for the first time. Great. Awesome. Good. Great. Grand. Anyway, so I don't know if I cut out there or not. So be sure to stay tuned. Some of these announcements might make some other people mad, and that actually warms my heart. Absolutely warms my heart. So stay tuned for that. As soon as I can get those announcements out, we're going to do it. But everybody plan on a big, what time is Meadows announcing? Is that tomorrow? What's the damn date? I think, is it tomorrow? And then I want to know what time that announcement is, because it's going to be a really interesting dynamic if he announces for Kelly and then I go live a few hours later on a Saturday night and everybody's drinking. Oh, buddy. I don't know how that's going to go. But whatever. 219, you're on the line. Sorry I made you wait. What's going on?
Well, I heard you talking about my LSU family.
My family?
And, well, anyway, you guys stole Micah Dambright, so we're stealing the Meadows guy, and then we're going to send a bunch of peacocks to the Louisville people so they can watch the dang game.
I'm telling you, man. You know what, though? I'm telling you, they look like they're having fun at LSU. I'm going to tell you that. Kelly was riding jet skis. He was releasing eagles into the air. He's riding that cow on Twitter or whatever, riding the bull on Twitter. And then yesterday I saw they were doing a paintball tournament with all the players. I got to give them credit. Looks like they're having fun. And then you add in grinding on some recruits. It looks like they're having fun down there. Good for him.
Yeah, Penn State Junior coming up.
Oh, man. So, dude, yeah. Talk me through this. What is... I don't want to be in my own head. Tell me, what is the appropriate level of concern about the wide receiver situation? Are people overreacting, or is it an appropriate level of this is not good enough as the feeling?
My personal thing is I kind of think that we're decent, kind of decent.
That's not good enough, though. That's not good enough, though. You're not winning in the playoff with decent, kind of decent.
It's not good enough, but I think we need to sit back and let Denbrock do his thing. For the last 12 years, we've had a total of like 12 years under Kelly. We may have had like 3 wide receivers go to the NFL. That's a joke when you talk about the teams that have been winning it, been elite in the last 12 years. That is a joke.
Yeah, it's
they have like 4 or 5 guys. I'm wondering where the outrage was under Kelly's guru-led offense. You really take a step back. You're an elite wide receiver, and your past 12 years, freshmen have not played. Under Kelly, freshman wide receivers were not allowed to step on the field. And if they did, it was like the QB situation. It was just to hand the ball off.
Yeah.
In today's day and age, and back then, they want to leave by their junior year to go to the NFL.
Yeah,
they're not looking to be redshirted 1, 2, 3 years and then have 1 year productivity.
Yeah, when
another thing.
That's a good point. When I was doing the Patreon episode with Goolsby the other day, and I asked him in this kind of jam we're in, what's the quickest way out? And you know what he said? Goolsby said, here's what you do. You play your fastest guys regardless of their experience or what age they are, because speed kills, and the hell with it. You put Cam Williams out there and you let him run because speed always wins. It's one thing Notre Dame has a little of with some of these young guys, and you don't have the luxury to just go with an upper class because he knows what route to run, but he's not physically gifted. You put your fast guys out there and let them do some business for you. And he goes, to hell with it. I'm done with this. Give me the fastest, most athletic guys that have some NFL traits, regardless of experience level or class. You roll them out there. You let them shine. You roll with them, you learn with the mistakes, and you just let that speed go. What do you think of that plan?
Oh, I like that plan. I mean, and at least you're getting them experience. The other thing with that too, Mike Denbrock is going to do is change up the play calling to where we're not running up the gut 24 times and 3 downs.
The other problem, listen, I have no problem running it up the gut. The problem I have is running it up the gut when there's 90 defenders right there and you know they're there and they know you're going to run it up the gut. Like, all runs up the gut are not the same. It's the ones where there's 9 guys in the box and you say, you know what's going to be a successful play? We're going to run it right into that wall and it's going to work. You know why? Because we want it to work. I don't understand that offensive theory at all.
Which brings me to another point. If you're a wide receiver and that's all we do, that's going to do a couple of things. One is it's going to you're asking your wide receivers just to run suicides all game. They're making efforts. They're to make separation, to sell the run. When everyone in the stadium, people who aren't even watching the game, probably know we're running into the Great Wall of China or some shit. Sorry.
It's
so I
listen. Here's okay. Now let me ask this. And I genuinely don't know I'm honest enough with you guys. Say I don't know the answer to this, so I throw this out to the group. What I have to say is, what is the appropriate level of frustration with Mike Brown for where we're at? If you end up going 0 for 3 on these 3 most recent targets. And you got a couple guys in the fold, and I think Burris is probably the better of the two. Let's be completely honest. If Bettis didn't have the name Bettis, he would be spoken about in a very, very different way. Everybody around Notre Dame needs to admit that's absolutely true. If he didn't have that name, people would be saying different things about that recruitment and that player. So we have to consider that. I want to know, how fair is it to be frustrated with Mike Brown? Are you going, he's only been here a handful of months, what do you expect? Or are you saying you're in here to fix the problem and you're striking out more than a White Sox player every single game? What's the reality here? What is the appropriate frustration and where to direct it in your mind?
To be honestly fair, yeah, it sucks missing out on these guys. But he's like you said, he's been here for a few months. Mike Denbrock been here for a few months. When has Kelly these guys? When have we gone after these guys in the last 12 years? I say, here's what I say. I know it's going to suck waiting, and you don't really want to wait. But let Mike Denbrock cook. Let him cook. Let him go against FSU. Let him show. And even if we lose that game, let them show that the offense is becoming more modern, and then I think you'll see recruits coming in.
Yeah, and listen, I agree with you. I agree with you, man. I agree with you.
Whatsoever in the last 12 years.
I just don't think people have the patience.
More than one.
People don't have the patience. That's the problem. They don't.
Why is... Go on.
Nobody has the patience. That's the problem. And you know what else is bugging me too? I'm just telling you, this stuff's bugging me. I remember, a lot of the Notre Dame media, the insiders, they told you Chancey Stuckey was the problem with the wide receiver room. We're running him out of town. That was the problem. Now that he's gone, everything's going to be fixed. That's what I was told. What happened to that? That's what I told. That was what the narrative was. Chancey was the problem. You get rid of him and you'll have a Chancey to land a bunch of good guys. I'm waiting. Hello? Season's almost here. I'm waiting.
Those same people who said that, and he may or may not have been the problem, those same people every single year are saying, our wide receivers are going to be so great. Our wide receivers are going to be great. Our offense is looking elite. Well, is any receiver really going to take you seriously when Gerard Parker or Tommy Reese is your offensive coordinator? You have Tyler Buckner throwing more touchdowns for the other team than you do your team in the bowl game. Come on. And I think that's kind of playing in the frustration because and we're smart as fans, we're smart enough to it to where like someone said, it's blue. We're looking at it through blue gold glasses, and we're thinking we're actually taking the bait and believing them, and then we go and we run the ball. We run the ball 200 times a game, and we throw it to our tight end twice.
Yeah,
and target our wide receiver once.
I'm very open to. I mean, those are those are what I'm looking forward to. If you want the bright side and you want to look for a way out, the best thing I can think of is Mike Denbrock runs an exciting offense, and you may be able to get a quarterback in here that can actually deliver the ball. The other question is, if you're Deuce, aren't you like, bro, why doesn't anybody good want to come play with me in my class? Like, doesn't that ever occur to Deuce where you're voted the most athletic guy in the whole recruiting in the whole country for that class? Isn't Deuce going, why don't any of these wide receivers want to catch balls from me? Is that not entered his mind? That can't be a really healthy thought for him in his brain either.
I agree. I mean, that is going to be concerning. So hopefully there's other 4-star, maybe lower 4-star receivers or something out there. I don't, like you said, the transfer portal is just a Band-Aid. You need to get guys into the program and develop them yourself so that they can develop that relationship with whoever your quarterback is going to be, so that they can get used to the school, everything like that.
Yeah, dude,
that's a concern. That really is a concern. However, I think Freeman's going to have it handled. He already has, Kelly, after the Tulsa game, when he could have kicked that, he lost, I believe, at home. When he could have kicked a field goal to win the game, says, "This is our offense. If you don't like it, get used to it."
Let me tell you this, Andrew Gilmore brought up a good point in the chat. Even though I had to yell at him earlier, he frustrated me because I wasn't appropriately yelling at Freeman yet, which I got to. Anyways, he's saying the red flag on Brown would have been he should have had a bunch of good receivers lined up. He was recruiting at his previous job at Wisconsin, that when he transferred to Notre Dame, you're recruiting them to come over here. And that didn't happen. So did he have no pipeline there either?
Is Wisconsin really known for their wide receivers?
No, but if you're the wide receiver coach there, I would hope you had a Rolodex of a few you were recruiting, wouldn't you?
True.
I mean, geez.
How many Kelly's players? How many Tommy Reese's players went with Tommy Reese other than Mr. Pick Six? I lost a fight to a stairwell. That's a genuine question.
Yeah, people are frustrated. I don't want to be over dramatic. Imagine me saying I don't want to be over dramatic. Okay, I want to be a little dramatic. That's just kind of my delivery style. However, what I'm saying is there's a lot of parts of this team that are getting better. But I can't have certain parts of it be so far below where I need it. It's going to weigh down the possibilities. And that's where I kind of feel like we're at. Kent, I knew this was going to come up. Oh, LOL. Imagine being compared to Wisconsin and wanting a Wisconsin wide receiver. Yeah, I understand. I understand the point you're going for there. But I also understand the point of you and your team acting like you're better than you are and handing Michigan a championship. So you want to give me a hard time? I'll give you a hard time. Smoke on that in the morning. Your responsibility to stop that from happening. You didn't, and I'm still mad at you guys for that.
Yeah, Ken, they kind of beat you at home. It's kind of embarrassing.
And I love Ken. He's a good guy. We talk offline here. He really is a good guy and likes supporting the show. But when you're doing that, then I'm going to bring up that part.
Yeah, my main thing about calling in is other than doing that voice, just to
you get it. No. I want your main thing when you call in to do funny voices, because it's fun to do funny voices on the internet.
Oh, I love doing funny voices. But it's just I'm wondering where this outrage has been under Kelly, who was an offensive guru for the last 12 or so years. I mean, seriously.
You know what I never do?
Take the field goal to win the game against Tulsa, and he sits there and that's him.
Wait.
With 20,000 years of experience, and you're comparing him to Marcus Freeman, who is actually a defensive guru. Are you kidding me right now? You're not even going to give him.
I know.
Dude. And you give him Tommy Reese and Jared Parker. Tommy Reese and Jared Parker. No wide receiver, no elite wide receiver in their right mind is going to trust the stability, regardless if you're Mike Brown. If Mike Brown comes in, Mike Denbrock, no wide receiver is going to trust the stability, or if you are actually going to open up the
Jones, who? Mike Jones. Anything else, buddy? Thanks for the call today. Mike Jones, who? I appreciate you very much. Do you have anything else you would like to say on the way out? Thank you for calling on a Friday, bro. I'd appreciate it. Also, I am going to ask, I'm going to give you a homework assignment. You got to work on a new voice. Next time you call, you got to come up with you got to come up with a new voice. Maybe I do the Coach O, you do somebody else about with Coach O on a Friday. Let me know. Okay, buddy?
Oh, I got it.
Thank you. Have a good one. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling. 773, you're coming up next. It's Jeez. Domer Wop, $10 holla. I don't mind missing work, but when the Microsoft CrowdStrike outage interferes with my plans to view Always Irish Live, then we have a problem. Number one is, I have no idea what that means. What is the Microsoft CrowdStrike? What is a CrowdStrike? It sounds to me like what you would do when Notre Dame's offense can't do anything against a real team, and then we all just leave. Like, when you talk about a CrowdStrike, I'm just picturing all of us in a big game, and you don't have any offense, and then we all go, yep, I'm out of here. I'm done with this. We're all leaving. We're picketing, and we're leaving. We're going to the parking lot to drink Miller Lite because it's never let me down. A cooler of Miller Lights never broke my heart. Isn't that a country song? I don't listen to country. It is the least creative genre in all of music. I can't handle it. It's scientific. That is not my opinion. Scientific musical studies have shown it is the most basic genre of music in the entire world. And it's 90% of songs are based on the same three chord structures. There's no creativity. What do you mean? Drinking beer, out on the boat, your girlfriend broke up with you, and every song's about the same stuff. Every single country song is about the same thing. Drinking cold beer, being by or on some body of water in a boat or a lake, and your stupid broken heart. Nobody cares. No one cares. CrowdStrike. I don't know what that means. Oh, I'm wearing my jeans by the lake. Ugh. Well, good for you. Why are you wearing jeans by a lake anyway? Doesn't it seem like a stupid idea? Why don't you wear some shorts if you're by the lake? It's always bothered me. Oh, I'm wearing my blue jeans near the water. Why? Are you stupid? Do you not have shorts? Or are you just such a cowboy? You got to wear your jeans to the lake. Unbelievable. That's actually a good point. I disagree. I actually think it's really creative to come up with so many different songs about the same stuff. It's really impressive, actually. Listen, I do respect this, though. people that play real music, I do respect. Like, I have my, like, certain part of my brain with, like, the old school hip hop stuff. But I do admit, anybody that, like, literally has a band and plays live music, I'm going to respect it. I'm just saying the way those songs are structured is just absolutely remedial. And the themes are so repeated that they're all the same in my brain. But I do respect anybody that goes on tour and has an actual band. I'll give country music that. At least you have a band and people are actually playing the music. And they're not just hitting a button and playing a bunch of electronic stuff and then you're singing the way hip hop or these girl rappers are, whatever. You're not even playing an instrument. Well, I don't. Anything else you want me to complain about today? Seriously, anything? You could say rap is as talentless as it gets, but you wouldn't be able to take you wouldn't be able to sit there and build a song the way Snoop does with all those rhymes and raps and put it all together and not mess it up live, though. Like, I understand you could say that that's talentless or whatever, but you couldn't do it. Like, it's talentless, but you couldn't do it. Write all those rhymes and then perform them perfectly by memory in front of a crowd over and over again. I just think that's kind of hard to do. Here's the problem I have with hip hop. When you can't understand the words, that to me is talentless. And I don't this modern hip hop stuff. It's all like mumbling and grumbling with a weird beat. Like, back in the day, bro, I at least could understand every word Snoop was singing, and I could understand every single word Tupac was singing. I could understand every word Biggie was singing. Now, you can't even understand the words. How is that music? How is that music when you can't understand the words to a song? They just mumble over a trap beat, whatever that means. To beat my head in listening to it. I don't understand that at all. But it's like mumble rap. That's not even music. Snoop, I understood every single word that dude was saying. How about JD Pickle was sporting BK? Oh, I saw that. He has a good, his point was, I saw that JD Pickle thing. His point was the support system and everything you have built in at LSU lends to success. Okay. And then he's saying you already have that. And then he's saying the recruiting classes it's a really strong recruiting class for Kelly, which it is. And then he's saying, and Kelly comes in with like a higher winning percentage than than the other guys that have come in there and won. So he's saying, does it not make sense by theory that Kelly has a really good chance to put it all together and win a title? That was his point. And so we'll just have to see how it goes. It's kind of hard to argue those points, but the landscape's changed significantly. And that's what gives me a little pause. You could have all the talent in the world. Brian Kelly's got to prove to me he can win 3 or 4 games in a row in the playoff to get to that title before I'll ever believe it'll happen, because he has a horrible record in those big games. That's where I disagree with JD, because you're analyzing the past and not the new dynamic in the future. I got to see it SPF. I'm just telling you, I got to see it to believe it, that Kelly's going to be able to win 3 or 4 big high pressure playoff games in a row, because he does not have that record. That's getting at. However, Kelly's in a good situation down there. It's the smartest thing he's ever done going to LSU. I congratulate. He's always looking out for him, and he did a really good job there. Notre Dame wine and cheese, $2 holler. Got to get back to Mo and have a good one. Have a good day Friday. Good. Yeah, spit it out, idiot. Have a good Friday, John. Jesus. Does anybody else feel like I'm like losing my mind a little bit today? Can we write that in the chat? Does anyone feel like I'm a little, I don't know what's happening. I'm a little out of sorts today. I'm in a rare mood. Kent, I don't think that's what he said. 773, I'm coming to you. Kent, I don't think that's what he said. I think he said that 17 to 18 million is what he expects to be paying out when they do that settlement and everybody's got to pay out from the House NCAA settlement. That's what I thought it was. We're going to have the conversation Saturday night about country. Pat, you know my problem with you with this. You know my problem I have with you with this. Pat grew up 1 block away from Midway Airport where I couldn't even take a nap on his couch without thinking that the jet was going to land on my face. He's the biggest city boy I ever know. Then he gets out to marries a country girl on the farmland out there. Next thing you know, I see Pat and he's wearing cowboy boots. Unbelievable, Pat. Unbelievable. The switch. City boy. Midway Airport. And then 10 years later, the guy's literally wearing cowboy boots out in the country. Unbelievable. I love this stupid show, man. I love this stupid show. I just try and like keep it. Oh my God. An ice cold beer never broke my heart. And then we just find 70 different ways to say we like beer. All right. Real creative. Love it. And the other thing, I mean, I guess hip hop's the same way, man. You're singing about your bling. You're singing about your ladies and your car and your money and your clout. And that's about it. Doesn't anybody feel like music in like the 70s, like you actually have like a variance of song topics? Trippy ones. Like there was an era where I just felt like there was literal creativity in the messaging of songs. And songs weren't just made to be played on the radio for 3 minutes to get a rating or streamed on TikTok or like on the radio to make a hit for 2 weeks and no one remembers the song again and it's gone. Why is it that all of that music from that genre seems to live on in ways that other music doesn't? You get what I'm saying? 773, you're talking to me. What's going on? Get me back on track. Yeah, I'm losing my mind. Get me back on track.
Hey, John, what's going on?
I think we need camp.
I want to talk about the receiver and the quarterback and
go for it.
Take a look at some of these teams that have won in the past and see how they got to the national championship game. I think what you have to do is, first of all, you got to give Marcus a chance here. Let's wait to see what happens when Carr becomes the quarterback. To me, that's when I'm going to put Marcus on the clock, is when Carr's the quarterback, because that's his first real quarterback. Going to the portal for quarterbacks isn't your quarterback. You're just trying to fix a problem today, but really his quarterback is going to be Deuce. It's going to be Carr. Let's see what receivers come in when they're the quarterback. But with that being said, receivers aren't necessarily the path to the national championship game, or else Ohio State, who's had 6 first-round receivers in the last 8 years, hasn't even made the playoffs. LSU had 2 first-round receivers and a first-round quarterback last year, and went 9-3. So I think it's a combination. The one thing I do, just being a former player, the one thing I do know is Notre Dame has the defense to make a run in the playoffs. And that's the thing I look at and say, boy, I wish this defense was around for 2 more years.
Yeah.
I wish they had 2 years with Carr. Then we get a real look, because Carr's going to bring in the receivers. Once they see a stable quarterback there, the receivers will follow. Once they see, like, okay, that's your guy for 3 years, now I want to come play for you. Even Ohio State's having some problems. They had to go out and get a a transfer portal quarterback from Kansas State. So they're struggling because they can't get by Michigan, but yet they still have first-round receivers. So I think it's going to take Notre Dame has the defense, and that's the thing that bothers me is they have this defense for one more year, and it's a championship defense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a top 5 defense. And it's just it's too bad that they have to fix their offense before they could take advantage of that.
Yeah.
defense.
Let me ask you this. And I've really been thinking about this a lot. I really feel like we've been saying that defense has been the heartbeat and the spine of this team for a long, long time. You're going to need that week 1. I don't think it's smart for Notre Dame fans to think we got Denbrock and we're going to run this exciting offense and all that. It isn't going to be clicking on all cylinders week 1 on the road like this. That's unrealistic for anybody to expect. There is going to be a little transition period to settle into that new Denbrock scheme for everyone involved. You need that defense to really be on point night 1 and carry the load, to buy that offense time to gel and the receivers to come together with the new quarterback and the new O-line to come together and all the new play calling and all that. That you need that defense to be what we think they're going to be more than ever night 1.
Yes, I think defense is good enough. If they get by Texas A&M, which they should get by Texas A&M, it's going to be because of their defense. It's because their defense just stuffs them. They can't move the ball. They can't run the football. And at the beginning, I played defensive end. At the beginning of the season, the offense relies on the defense because it takes a little bit longer for an offense to gel. A defense is you're reacting to stuff. You don't need that timing like you do on offense. Offensive linemen, they need timing. They're polling. They're pass blocking. The running back's got to find the block. So it takes a little bit longer for the offense to get the timing where they start putting it in gear. So that's why I like Notre Dame's chances. For sure they're going to make the playoffs. That's the way I see it. Now, how far they go is going to be up to that defense. And I think with the defense, you can make a decent run here. You can get 2 or 3 games into the playoffs because that defense, if you're stuffing people and they're not putting points on the board, John, you're going to win football games on turnovers, giving the offense 3 and out. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm really trying to find what I think is a healthy level of mental state entering this A&M game. I don't want to go in there overconfident because I believe that would be very irresponsible for a Notre Dame fan to do. But I'm also not saying, oh my God, I'm terrified of these guys either. I'm really, really honestly struggling to find what I think is the appropriate level of respect for the moment and our opponent, but also some confidence that there's no reason Notre Dame can't go in there and hold their own and prove a big point night 1. How do you see that? I'm really struggling to find that proper balance of not weighing one way or the other.
Yeah, well, what makes it interesting, and this is why it's going to be a battle, is because it is week 1, and Texas A&M's always had a good defense. So both the defenses are going to be ahead of the offense in the first week of the season. And then you got the ancillary side show of Denver, of Elko being the head coach, quarterback that's at Notre Dame now. So you got so many things going on there that you're like, you just can't predict. I mean, is that an advantage for Elko that he coaches, or Denbrock's offense is going to come out with something completely different that keeps Elko off balance?
Yeah.
So there's so many question marks with this. But what I do like about this, John, is I love Notre Dame's defense, and that tells me they're going to be in every football game and should win 10 or 11 games this year at least because of that defense. And that's what wins in college football. You look at Ohio State, they've had the great quarterback. Look, they had Ewers, who's at Texas. He transferred out because they had great quarterbacks. You had Burrow at Ohio State. He transferred out. They won the national championship at LSU. They've had great defenses at Ohio State up until the last couple of years when they lost to Michigan. And look what's happened. They give up 30, 35 points to Michigan. Boom, they're out of the playoffs, even with their great receivers and quarterbacks. And Notre Dame has a better defense than Ohio State has. And that's what makes Notre Dame interesting.
Yeah, it's that defense is see, that's the thing. If you have a really good defense, that usually travels. Week to week, you can usually count on that. And I also would argue, and I've been arguing, even in the games we lost last year, Yeah, the defense had lapses, got gashed in the run game, usually one big run backbreaker in each of those moments or whatever. But I even blame some of that on the offense because the defense was expected to be out there 90% of the game and never break. And I don't, and you're expecting a lot of the defense when you're going 3 and out, turning the ball all over, and they got to do everything. That's not fair to them.
Yeah, and it's true. Like you take the Louisville game. If you're going 3 and out, no matter how good.
Yeah, and the turnovers.
Right. You're putting them out there 3 plays, they're back up again. 3 plays, they're back up again. You can't have the defense play 3 of the 4 quarters, and the offense is only out there for 1 quarter as far as time of possession. No matter how good your defense is, you keep them out there, they're going to wear down. Eventually, they're going to wear down in the 4th quarter and start giving up points. But if you go out there, if Notre Dame could just put together a couple of drives, they could get 18, 20, 21 points on the board, they should win a lot of football games. They're not going to have to score 35 points or 40 points to win football games. And that's what I'm looking at with Denver. I'm looking at him saying, can this guy put up 21, 25, 28 points? I think he can. I think he could put that up in every game, which would give Notre Dame the advantage of winning every game.
Yeah, I think that defense alone could probably win Notre Dame, 10 games on this schedule, even if the offense would be terrible. I think the defense alone could maybe do that. Now, let me ask you about this aspect of this A&M game. What is your concern level that you could argue 2 of our biggest assets? I am not sure if they're going to be healthy. I have no confidence Morrison's going to be 100% ready to go. And Evans is your biggest offensive returning target. And I don't know if he's going to be ready to go. Those are things that are in my mind every day. Now, you're not getting a lot of status updates. They don't have to tell us those updates. That is a concern of mine too. Those are your 2 most productive players, one on each side of the ball, and it gives me anxiety.
Yeah, Morrison, if he's not going to play, that hurts because Morrison shuts down half the field for you. He takes away their best receiver. And that's what makes the defense. Why is the defense so good? When you have corners like Notre Dame has, especially the first-round corner, Morrison, when he takes away the best receiver, then that's what he did against Ohio State. You see, Ohio State couldn't do anything. Why? Dude at Ohio State, I could get Harrison, the 3rd pick in the draft. He had 2 catches against Notre Dame because Morrison just took him out of the game. Well, that's huge. That's what makes the defense great is like, look, we're not going to throw the ball on these guys. They're going to put 8 men in the box, and they're going to take away the run. Now what do we do? And that's where Notre Dame is at. That's why I love their defense.
Yeah, it's, man, I don't know. This is going to be a really interesting year. And then what do you make of the offensive line as well? That's going to be one of the biggest things they've got to figure out the first half of camp in August, how you're going to line those guys up, where they're going to go. I think one of the big questions is, do you go with older guys with more experience, but are less physically gifted? Or do you roll the dice on some younger guys that are low on experience, but have a higher NFL physical upside? I don't know how you handle that. I don't know how you handle that. You're going into a hostile environment. Do you lean to the guy with more experience there, or do you roll the dice on the younger guy? What do you do there?
Well, what's great about that, that's why you have training camp. You could take a look at that for 3 weeks and see. In 3 weeks, you'll know if the younger guys can handle it. And you know what? If you put them out there and they can't handle it, you could always put in the older guy. You can make changes whenever you want. So if you want to put the more talented guy out there, and for whatever reason he doesn't have the experience against the defensive ends at Texas A&M, then put the older guy out there. Just switch them out. It's not the end of the world. Like, oh my God, we picked this guy, now we're stuck with him the whole day. No, just take him out, put in another guy. My thing is, if you're going to put in the younger guys, the 2 younger guys that have no experience, set up your offense where you have a slot or a tight end, a wing, chip the end. Go ahead, let the tight end chip the end, push the end down so the tackle could drive the end down. And now he doesn't have to worry about him getting outside on a pass rush, and then the tight end can release on a pass pattern. So there's ways of helping the tackles depending on the formation of the offense. You can keep a back end. He just steps in front of the quarterback and he picks up. If an end beats a tackle, he'll pick him up. So I mean, there's ways to protect the tackles if that's what you want to do. Thing is Denbrock willing to do that, or does he want to have three receivers going out all the time? Three receivers in the tight end. He may not want to keep somebody in to help the tackles, but that's the decision they have to make. They have to look at the situation and say, let's chip the tackle, or let's chip the defensive ends, and let's help these guys out, and we'll get rolling here. We can get the ball to the tight end. They'll open up the running game, and then we can throw down the field.
Yeah, man, this is just going to be, it's going to be such an interesting year. And there's some big decisions to be made in a lot of different areas of this team. And I'm ready to get into camp and see how it's going to go, man. Thanks for the call today. Yeah. Good to hear from you again. And then we're going live tomorrow night. If you're around, check it out.
All right, John, we'll talk to you later, buddy.
Have a good one. Take care. That's, I'm telling you, man, when you live a Notre Dame football life, it's a wild existence. And it's there's just always something that's going to worry you. There's just, and you just want to wonder sometimes. You just want to know, is there ever, like, where's the other side of the rainbow? You know, like, do we ever get a chance where I log on here and open up this show and everybody's honestly in a good mood? Does it ever happen where we can just log in and it's just positivity, legitimate positivity? Can't be delusional positivity, legitimate positivity. Like, is there ever a scenario where we do that and that's the existence I live in? I don't know, man. 260, where do you want to go? Let's see. What's going on, man?
What's up, John? I didn't know where you wanted me to start. I got a couple of bullet points. You want me to start with A&M?
Sure.
After watching some things and looking at some stuff, I think the last caller said, I think they're going to have to run a bunch of 22 personnel to chip the ends because of the two transfers they brought in. Nick,
Isn't it the Purdue guy that transferred? Am I wrong about that? That's really good. Yeah. Am I dreaming that, or is that accurate? So we avoid him. Him at Purdue. It's funny though, because we got them both on the schedule, but we avoid that monster at Purdue, and you get him at A&M. I'd rather he was at Purdue.
Yeah. The big thing with him is that I watched his tape today. Looks really good and fast twitch on tape. Had 10 sacks last year and a bunch of tackles for loss. I think 15 or 16 defensive end.
This show's giving me a quick twitch every single morning. I got to tell you, I admit that. It's giving me a twitch.
Oh, yeah. And the other guy is Cassius Howell, a edge player out of Bowling Green. He was a little banged up last year, but if you go and watch his tape, he's a really good player. So those are my two A&M points. And I think on the program that I do, I've been talking about the offensive line for a couple of past shows, and then I've been talking about the wide receiver room. But when it comes to the wide receiver room, you got to remember Mike Brown was in Cincinnati with Mike Denbrock. So he's a Mike Denbrock guy. He went to Wisconsin for a year, but I think the reason why he got moved out of Wisconsin, I would have to look at the dates to see if it lined up, but I haven't talked to anybody about it. But the reason I say that is because Arkansas's offensive coordinator got fired midway through the season last year, and that made Kenny Guyton, the wide receivers coach, call plays, and they weren't going to retain him as offensive coordinator at Arkansas, and he needed a job. So Fickle, Ohio State connection here. Fickle was on the coaching staff when Kenny G was there. And so that's why I believe Fickle brought Kenny Guyton in, and it kind of pushed Mike Brown out the door because he wanted his guy in there. And then to dog Wisconsin about their wide receivers. Let's not forget who their offensive coordinator is, Phil Longo, which he was at North Carolina when Drake May put up them ridiculous numbers, and he's got Tyler Van Dyke coming in this year. So let's see what they do up there in Wisconsin. But Denbrock and Mike Brown were together at Cincinnati. So, I mean, there's some familiarity there. And I think that's what that connection is to me. Like I said, I haven't talked to anybody about it, but that's what I would say.
Yeah, it's and then what do you do with this offensive line? You go with the younger guys, you move them around, try and find a blend. Do you go with a plan into A&M and with the understanding that if you struggle, you don't have time to mess around and you can make a move in that game? Like how do you approach running out an offensive line that could do what it takes to get the win at A&M? Doesn't have to be perfect that night. It's just got to be good enough to get through that game with the win as you continue to develop.
I think the big thing that Mike Denbrock's going to do, there's going to be a lot of stunts, a lot of twists. So communication's got to be at utmost priority about which way they're going to slide the protections and things of that sort. It's just, I don't know what he's going to do down there with his personnel at A&M because they have a mixture of guys, and he's got some, like I mentioned, those two edge rushers, and he's got some big run stuffers up front. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say Elko's going to try to get the ball in space because they do have some new transfers out on the edge. They were really bad on the perimeter last year. That's what caused them the Alabama game. So I'm going to think that Elko's going to try to get home with 4 most of the game, and I don't think he's going to take a bunch of chances because I think Denbrock's going to run a bunch of RPO, and I think they're going to do a lot of drop 5, 6 guys into coverage and keep everything in front. But it just depends on how the defensive backs play. But back to the offensive line, I feel like you got to go with the hot hand, and I think you're going to run a lot of 22 personnel maybe if they can't get the RPO game going, because you're going to have to chip those guys coming off the edge, and they're going to be coming with their ears pinned back, because if you go back and look at his Duke defense, that's what they did last year. It was a lot of 4-man rush and a lot of rotation to keep their guys fresh, and everybody's got to take into account for the heat down there. So I feel like offensive line is more of a concern for me than the wide receiver issue that you have right now. And when it comes to the wide receiver issue, you got to find out if Bo Collins and Mitchell, if them guys can play or not, because if they can't play, it's going to be a long year.
Yeah. Oh man. So there's a lot to figure out. And they have no time to waste in camp, man, especially on offense with you not being able to gel with Leonard because of the injury. Man, you got to figure things out quick, and they got to get this thing going really, really fast. I don't know, man. I have anxiety, and it isn't going to stop until we're done with that A&M game and there's a win in that column. That's the next time I'm going to feel better.
I just, I talked about this on a program months ago, and I said this is a Briley Leonard not being able to go full go in the spring was going to be a cohesion problem. Even though Parker was the offensive coordinator, Sam Howell looked rusty at times. It's really hard to do a full install in fall camp with a brand new quarterback. I think it's going to be an issue, and I wouldn't be shocked if there's a bunch of miscommunication and, some of the protections get slid the wrong way. Yeah. That's why I was concerned about the RPO game, but I think that's your best game plan, and you got to risk it a little bit, and hopefully Leonard doesn't get hurt. But that's just my opinion. But what do I know?
Yeah, that's you're right though. It's what I call week 1 variance. You could have miscommunication, bad timing. Like there's a lot of mistakes that happen in week 1 games that don't happen in week 5 and 6. And then you add in that environment and the noise and everything. Like who's going to make those mistakes in that game? Is it going to be Notre Dame, or is it going to go the other way? 1 or 2 of those mistakes that will never happen the rest of the year. but will happen in a week one situation could make or break this. It's another added level of intrigue and stress.
Right, 100%. I just, with talking to a few people about it, some people that have played in the NFL, that was some of their concerns they expressed to me, and I have the same sentiment. It's, you're basically rolling 2 new tackles, Kyle Field, first week of the year, and you got hungry pass rushers trying to rewrite a narrative. If you don't think they're going to be fired up to come kill your quarterback, you're mistaken here. It's this is a week one playoff game.
Yep. It certainly is. So I don't know, man, this is going to be really, really stressful, but the beginning of camp's going to be really interesting. See how things develop, see what we find out about that O-line, figure out the health, who's 100%, who isn't. I'm really interested in it. Anything else, man? Thanks for the call.
And I guess with the camp thing, everybody's got to come out of camp healthy, especially at the offensive line. I think it's going to be a lot of mix and matching, and they're going to really have to figure it out up front before they can even attempt to try to have any semblance of a game plan. But I don't know what Denbrock's thinking, and I don't watch practice obviously, but just from the outside looking in with my best guess opinion, that's what I would go with. And then the last thing is Derek Meadows. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm just expecting everybody to be mad. That's what my thoughts are on that. Well, I don't expect Notre Dame to I just expect us to be mad. I'm preparing for it. And if it doesn't happen and we get a pleasant surprise, beautiful. But I'm just preparing for disappointment, because when it comes to Notre Dame and these big time recruits, more often than not, we don't land them. So I'm fully prepared for that misery.
Yeah, I just really think that when it comes to the Meadows thing, I think he pushed the commitment back to see if Notre Dame would probably match what LSU was going to give him. I almost feel like $300,000 is what you're going to have to pay him. Whether Notre Dame comes up with that money, I don't know. But if I was them, I would pay that kid, because that's about the going rate for a 5-star receiver, unless you're DeCorian Moore. They got north of $500,000. So
interesting. So you think that 300 is kind of the area?
300, 325 is what I would think. I mean, that kid that flipped from Mississippi State to Alabama got close to $500,000, but he's the number 2 wideout in the class. Meadows is down farther, but
yeah, but dude, there are people that aren't even a believer that he's going to be an elite receiver. They're like it's kind of like Tobias territory, where the physical traits are all there, but he hasn't been that productive. And then you want to guarantee him $300,000. That's a lot of people have trouble making that make sense.
Well,
but that's the game we're playing. That's just the game we're playing. But a lot of people are not even sold on the results. It's the physical traits. It's, man.
The big thing is going to be is how he performs his senior year and how he looks. And if he shows up early, what does he look like in spring ball? Some of these schools have, Texas A&M under Jimbo, they went out and bought a recruiting class, and it obviously didn't work. But it's pay for play. This is what it is. This is the landscape, and this is something you have to deal with. And if you want these top echelon recruits, you're going to have to open the checkbook. Like I said the last time, you don't open the checkbook, they're taking your hat off the table.
Yeah.
Because in this day and age, you have recruits out there that their parents, and this is fact, because I know this just from talking to people, there's parents out there selling their kids.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that this is a similar anywhere near the same situation, but out there you have predatory, you have the street agents, you have the parents that are straight up selling their kids to these schools, and they'll say, well, we're going to commit on this date and school X is offering me this.
Yeah, it's
the same.
I don't know.
The same realm as the Jalen Rashada thing.
So you're almost going to have to either just be all in or be all out. Like, I don't know how long you could try and toggle that line to being half in or half out. Hey, man, thank you. Appreciate the call. I'll be going live tomorrow night if you want to have a cold beer and join us.
I might, John, but email me and we might get together and make some content.
Oh, boy. Let's see what you got. All right, I'll talk to you, man. Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
Oh, boy. Here's the other thing. Clarification on this. There are a lot of top recruits now that are charging just for an official visit. Like, not to land your recruitment, to get their kid to come check out your campus. It's $5,000 to $7,000. You're paying for the whole entourage to fly there, put up in a hotel, eat or drink at the best restaurant in town, hit the club that night. And on top of that, $5,000 to $7,000 thrown in on top of that, just for a visit. Just for a visit. I don't know, man. Is that the world we're living in? Bro, is that the world we're living in? I don't know. You're either going to have to, if that's the way the ship's moving, what options do you have then? What options do you have then? Be the one who thinks that's ridiculous and never land a good player, or you get in the game. Like, your back's against the wall. You don't exist in a vacuum where it's just your values dictate what happens. If that's the way everything trends and it's money and you got to guarantee a $250,000 guy to a freshman or whatever and all this, and you don't want to do it, you could stand on that moral high ground and your values in it, and then you're not winning anything. Okay. So that's fine. Like, you can have that moral high ground and you can not win anything because of it. Okay. Does that make you feel good? So I don't know, man. Is there enough elite level guys that still have parents that are from the real world that don't expect all that or whatever? I did see this. I did see somebody texted me the uniforms are out and they do have the gold on the shoulder. So maybe I'll put out a little short about that or something. That's interesting. So I don't know, you guys, but all right, that's going to be it for the show. I got some other work to do. Remember, we are going to go live tomorrow night. So plan for 8 o'clock. Pour yourself a stiff drink or two. And we're going to do that. So we'll be live tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Looks like me and Pat will be there. Pat hasn't been around as much. He's had a busy summer. My schedule's changed this summer. I want to see what Pat thinks about the wide receiver and what all the what all the appropriate levels of concern or hope should be. So I appreciate everybody being here. Lively shows this week, and that's only going to increase as we keep going. You guys are funny. I see what you're doing. There. I'm going to go. Thanks for the chats. Thanks for the calls. Thanks for the donations. I'll see you guys tomorrow night, Saturday Night Live.